Hi, it's Gwen from Hummingbird Tarot, and today I'm doing a video response to Ethany's 31 Days of Tarot. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So this is the prompt for day 3, and this is the top 5 oracle decks that you purchased or that came into your collection or that were released in 2020. All of the decks that I mention in this video, you can find links to them down in the description, so feel free to check that out if you're interested in finding out more about any of these decks. So this first deck I mentioned a lot in 2020, and this is the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. This is very similar to a tarot deck, but it is also considered an oracle deck because there are cards that are missing from the standard tarot deck and then additional cards on top of what would be found traditionally in a deck. So the cards that are missing are basically if you're saying ace through king, you're going to be missing the court cards and the tens from all of the suits. And then you have an additional seven cards for each of the chakras. So that makes the number of cards in this tarot deck to be 65, but you'll find the major arcana are the same, and then the cards of the 1 through 9 that are in this tarot deck are based on the standard Rider-Waite-Smith images, and you'll find it's got different. It doesn't mention the suits in here, but you will find each of the standard 4 suits in here, represented in here, as well as the major arcana that I mentioned. So here is what the back of the tarot deck looks like. And this deck, I was really drawn to this deck for a very long time. And then once it finally came into my collection, I was really impressed with how easily I connected with the deck and how good the readings were that I did with this deck. So let me just take you through some of these cards here. And you may have seen these images already. It's like digitized art. Some of it is, and then some of it is just looks like drawings. And then you see there's one of the chakra cards. But I really connected with this deck, and because this deck came into my collection and I connected so much with it, I also brought into my collection the Psychic Tarot for the Heart. And this is considered an oracle deck too, and this has your traditional hardcover for an oracle deck. I really wish tarot decks some of them do, but I wish all of them came with these super heavy, sturdy boxes. And just like with the Psychic Tarot Oracle, which I didn't share with you, there is a little book in here that goes into detail about each of the cards. You'll find a similar situation where you've got the basic Rider-Waite-Smith, but this is based on love readings and a romance. And you'll see there's the back of the deck, what it looks like. And then I still have these in order here. I did a recording with this deck, and so I had put this back in order. But you'll see you've got the major arcana here. And then this deck as well, it goes through each of it's got the 65 cards in it as well. It goes through each of the minor arcana suits, cards 1 through 9. And then on top of that, it has the chakra cards again as well. Whew, they're jumping out of my hands. And you'll see they just look a little different than the chakra cards that are included with the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. Okay. And then another deck that I have here that's an older deck that I really connected with is Magical Mermaids and Dolphins. And someone mentioned this to me that their daughter had this deck and they really liked it. And I started looking for images of it, and I liked what I saw and really connected with it. And it's a little, I'm not normally into mermaids and this sort of thing, but for some reason this is actually a Doreen Virtue deck, and I was drawn. I do I have been able to separate myself from how her views changed. I'm not as emotionally attached to all of the drama that came up around her. I have been able to connect really closely with a lot of her decks. I appreciate the decks. I still use them. So I don't have any issues using this deck. Some of you might, but I'm just going to take you through some of the cards. If you look at what they say, so this card says, set your heights higher, increase your standards and expect more for yourself. Don't settle. Another one here, simplify your life. Eliminate clutter from your home and work life to balance the flow of activities. Soulmate relationship. New romance with a spiritual basis is here for you now. So it's very positive and uplifting ideas. Now, Oracle decks, there's a lot of different ways that you can use them. For me, sometimes I'll just do a single card pull. I'll flip through the deck, pull out one card, and I'll set it up on a shelf. And it's a card that I look at throughout the day, maybe throughout the week, if I'm pulling a card for the week or one for the day. If I'm using tarot and oracle decks together, multiple decks, I may pull however many cards I feel drawn to pull. If I have a particular spread that I'm doing that only calls for one or two oracle cards or more oracle cards in addition to tarot cards, then I'll pull whatever works for that reading. And sometimes I'll use an oracle deck as a clarifier. So if I do a reading with tarot cards and I really want to clarify a certain point in there or get additional information on something, then I may pull a tarot card or two, an oracle card or two to clarify that point, get a little bit more information, some additional direction. I find oracle cards are very flexible and can be used in a lot of different ways. So those are some of the ways that I use oracle decks. Another deck that came into my collection this year is the Queen of the Moon Oracle deck. This has a really nice box to it. The box is a matte finish, but the deck itself is really shiny. I wish it wasn't so shiny. But it comes with a little book that's good. I don't find that I use the book very often. It's got color pictures of each of the cards. So if you really wanted to connect and study hard with an oracle deck, then you could read through that. I find with oracle decks, they usually have enough information on the cards themselves, so I don't have to spend a lot of time studying the deck with the oracle decks, and I can float through my oracle decks much more often. I find if I haven't used a particular tarot deck that has changed up the suits, maybe some of the cards are a little different, it's hard for me to just pull that deck out randomly every once in a while. I usually have to sit down and study them. However, with oracle decks, if I'm in a certain mood and I want to just pull an oracle deck, I feel like they've got enough information on the card that I can just use those without having to spend a whole lot of time studying the deck ahead of time and familiarizing myself again with it. So the thing that I like about this deck, let me show you, there's what the back of the cards look like. And there are some, they're almost like portals that you'll see on the card. And so you see at the very bottom there, it says Waning Crescent 6, the path. And then you can see there's an image up in here with a ladder going up, and there's a person down below. And I'll just take you through some of these. Dropping cards here. So I was really drawn to the artwork with this deck. I found that it meshes well with the tarot deck and with other readings. I can find just the one word keyword on here combined with the images. It really helps me get the message that I need. Very straightforward. Plus the images are beautiful to look at, which I always appreciate a deck that has really good images. Okay, and then finally the last deck that came into my collection this year is the Magical Dimensions. This is oracle cards and activators. You can hear the text sliding around here. This also came with a really good book, and I'm realizing I didn't grab the book here, but the book goes through different ways that you can use this deck, and they're saying you can get a second deck and use one as activators and one as oracle cards. So, I'm just used one deck as both activators and oracle cards, and it's almost like using affirmations. You flip through the deck, you look for something that you'd like to attract in your life or something you would like to improve, and you use the the oracle cards in a reading, and it's kind of like a ritual to activate that area of your life. And I liked that. That was an interesting way. I mean, I have done something similar on my own with tarot cards and oracle cards, but seeing a deck that is actually intended to be used that way is interesting. The artwork, it's digital art on this as well, and you'll see the back is like a typical oracle deck size, and the back has got a really pretty image on there, and then here's the front, some of the images here, and you'll see keywords as well. Empowerment, what does this say? Empowerment, grounded, strength, and stamina. You just flip through some of these and you can see what the images look like, but you'll see there's a lot going on, a lot to draw from. And then also the thing that I liked about this deck is you can pull the cards and the book out of here, and then this book here, excuse me, this box is intended to cleanse tarot and oracle cards. So you can put a deck in here and you have to just break it in half into 2 stacks and then close the lid, and I leave it overnight, and I find it amps up the energy of a deck for me. I haven't done any special rituals or anything with this box. She actually intended it to be used as this, and I find that it works really well for me. And I can put a deck in here, and the next time I come and pick it up, it feels like it's shiny, bright, new energy. It's way more positive energy and than, you know, the last time I touched it. It kind of just like charges the deck, and I appreciate that. So I have found that I've used that a lot with my tarot decks. So those are the 5 oracle decks that I brought into my collection, and I do actually use that box to activate both tarot decks and oracle decks. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see what everyone else shares as far as what they brought into their collection. Thanks for watching.